After a night of intense exercise, I fell asleep on the bed of the Silver Dragon Queen. Muin opened the door of the room and wanted to play with us, but found us sleeping soundly. She found red marks on our bodies, so she brought in ointment to help us apply it. After waking up, we unanimously agreed to lock the door next time. I helped the Silver Dragon Queen cook, and prayed in my heart that she wouldn't recover so quickly. However, what I don't know is that the power of the Silver Dragon Queen has begun to slowly recover. Time suddenly arrived in the morning, and the sun gradually rose. The morning mist gradually dissipated under the sunshine, revealing the blue sky that would appear on a sunny day. The sunlight shines on the trees, revealing their vibrant side. Two birds stood on the branch, cuddling up to each other while singing a song. Through their interaction, it seems like one can see the peaceful coexistence between Leon and Roswitha. Muin opened the door to Roswitha's room in a daze. She was still wearing pajamas, looking like she had just woken up not long ago. She yawned and tears were squeezed to the corner of her eye. She slowly opened her eyes and rubbed them with her hand, wiping away the tears from the corners of her eyes. Muin slowly walked into Roswitha's room and climbed onto the sofa at the end of the bed. She placed her hands on the decoration at the end of the bed, then gently pressed her hands downwards and tiptoed her feet. She slowly climbed onto Roswitha's bed with the help of the height of the sofa. She shook Roswitha's shoulder with a hand, hoping she would wake up. "Mom, wake up. The sun is shining on your tail." After being shaken by Muin a few times, Roswitha whispered a few words softly. She frowned lightly, as if she didn't want to wake up yet. Muin shook a few more times, but Roswitha still didn't get up. She seemed to feel a little cold in her body, so she shrunk into the blanket. She placed her hand near her mouth, as if to warm it up. She said to Muin in a daze, You go play with Dad." Then, she adjusted her sleeping position and fell into a deep sleep again. Muin couldn't wake up Roswitha, so he slowly crawled to the other side of the bed. She shook Leon's shoulder, trying to wake him up. "Dad, wake up. The sun is shining on your backside." However, Leon only moved his body slightly. He frowned lightly and had no intention of waking up. It seems that because the blanket was too comfortable, he also shrunk into it to warm up his body. He still closed his eyes and replied softly to Muin, "It's so warm. Let Dad sleep a little longer." Phew. Upon discovering that neither Leon nor Roswitha wanted to wake up, Muin felt a bit angry. She puffed up her cheeks and gently clenched her hands into fists. She knelt on the bed, looking somewhat unhappily at her parents, who were lying under the covers. "But you are holding each other so tightly. Who can play with Muin?" Muin got up early and ran to Roswitha's room, wanting to wake them up and play with her. However, Leon rested his head on top of Roswitha's head and used one hand to protect her head. Roswitha rested her head on Leon's shoulder and placed one hand on his chest. They all snuggled tightly together, falling deeply asleep. Neither of them seemed to notice how close they were to each other, just that their bodies felt warm. However, after kneeling on the bed and observing for a while, Muin suddenly noticed something. Leon and Roswitha, who usually argue and even fight with each other, are actually sleeping together at this moment. This surprised her a bit. She tapped her cheek with her finger and looked at their sleeping position, lost in thought. Muin has never seen Dad and Mom so intimate before, but why do they have so many red dots on their bodies? At this moment, Muin noticed that both Leon and Roswitha had large and small red marks on their bodies. These marks are not only on the body, but also on the neck. Muin, who is still a child now, doesn't know what these traces represent. She pondered what might have caused these traces to appear. She quickly figured out the reason based on the size of these traces. Oh, this must be bitten by a bug. A big mosquito appeared behind her. Muin may have noticed that Leon and Roswitha had a large area of exposed skin, coupled with not being able to fully cover themselves with blankets while sleeping. Some insects took advantage of the situation and secretly stung them while they were asleep, which is why these traces were left behind. Muin quickly jumped out of bed and ran to find a medicine. She remembered that when she was bitten by a mosquito before, Roswitha had given her a piece of knowledge. Mom used to teach me that if I get bitten by a bug, I need to apply medicine. She found a cabinet containing some medicines, opened the drawer, and excitedly searched while recalling the appearance and names of the medicines. In no time, she found a bottle of green ointment specifically designed to treat mosquito bites. She lifted it up and said happily, "Find it." Then, Muin climbed onto the bed again. She stood on the bed, holding the bottle of ointment in one hand and placing the other on her waist, looking down at her parents who were still asleep. She showed a very confident smile and whispered to herself, "Don't worry. Noah is not here. Muin will take good care of you all." Eliminating mosquito bits for Mom and Dad is a piece of cake for Muin. Muin believed that she had worked so hard to help them, and they would definitely praise her when they woke up. Muin climbed up to Leon first. She dipped her hands in some green ointment and applied some to Leon's back. Then, she applied some ointment to his chest. Upon discovering that there were more red marks on Leon's body, Muin decided to apply more to him. "I'll apply more ointment to Dad." Leon felt a slight itch behind him, but he didn't open his eyes. He smiled and then continued to sleep. After applying the ointment to Leon, Muin climbed up next to Roswitha and also applied some ointment to her body and face. After a while, Leon vaguely heard someone calling him. "Leon, wake up." He opened his eyes gradually, wanting to see clearly who was calling him. He reluctantly sat up from his bed and found out that it was Roswitha calling him. She woke up earlier than him and was already sitting in bed. He was just about to greet her when he suddenly felt a cool sensation on his face, as if something was stuck to it. He said in confusion, "How do I feel like my face is wet?" Then, Leon turned his head and found that Roswitha's face and body had been painted with some green things. Not only her, but Leon also noticed that he had been coated with a lot of ointment, even on his face and near his mouth. Leon and Roswitha looked at each other in confusion. The air suddenly quieted down for a few seconds.
Hey! Have you heard about it? SF Light Novel is going to share a new comic. I have already shared a new comic. The name of this comic is The Blonde-Haired Villain. In Girl Overlord novel, also longs for happiness. I have already shared the relevant content of this comic in this video. You can click on this video to learn about the comic story and character information. If you are interested, you can subscribe to my channel and wait for the sharing of new comic.